The rain hammered against the
I
dorm
needed to
window
tell you
like
something.
fists demanding entry, mirroring
can't
the
keep this
storm
secret
raging
anymore.
inside me as I clutched the crumpled photo in my fist. It was 2 in the morning, the kind of hour where secrets spill out unbidden. And there I was, Jeremy Hale, straight-A sophomore from suburban Ohio, staring at a snapshot of Alex and me from freshman orientation, his arms slung around my shoulders like it belonged there. I'd always told myself it was just bromance, the unbreakable kind forged in late-night study sessions and shared dreams of escaping our small-town ghosts. But tonight, with my heart pounding like a drum solo gone wrong, I knew the lie I'd been living was cracking wide open. And then the door creaked. Alex, back early from his date, his silhouette filling the frame, eyes widening as he caught me not just awake, but unraveling. Jew, what the hell? Man, you look like you've seen a ghost. Alex's voice cut through the downpour, low and laced with that easy concern he'd always had for me, the kind that made my chest tighten in ways I couldn't name. He dropped his backpack by the door, water dripping from his jacket onto the worn carpet, and crossed the room in 3 strides, his presence filling the space like he always did, solid, unshakable, the anchor to my drifting ship. I shoved the photo under my pillow too late. His gaze flicked to the movement, sharp as ever from years of reading opponents on the court. We were 18 when we met, wide-eyed kids from the same nowhere high school, bonding over bad cafeteria food and dreams of making it big in the city. Now, 2 years into college at State UN Ann Arbor, Michigan, with its brick buildings and endless gray skies, everything felt heavier, like the weight of unspoken truths pressing down on us both. I forced a laugh, brittle as autumn leaves underfoot, rubbing my hands over my face to buy time. Just couldn't sleep. Storms got me wired. But my voice cracked on the last word, betraying me. And Alex wasn't the type to let it slide. He perched on the edge of my bed, the mattress dipping under his weight, close enough that I could smell the rain on his skin mixed with that faint cologne cedar and something wild that always made my pulse stutter. Bullshit, he said softly, not accusing, just knowing. Talk to me, bro. We've been through worse than a little thunder. His hand landed on my knee, a casual touch meant to ground me, but it ignited something fierce, a spark that raced up my spine and lodged in my throat. In that moment, with the world outside blurring into sheets of water, I realized the worse he'd reference our parents' divorces, the bullying in junior high, the scholarship scares paled against this, the terror of admitting I loved him, not as a friend, but in the bone-deep way that rewrote every rule I'd ever known. We sat there in silence for what felt like eternity. The only sound, the relentless patter against the glass and the distant hum of the vending machine down the hall. Alex's thumb traced absent circles on my jeans, a habit from our high school days when we'd hype each other up before games. But tonight it felt like a question hanging in the air. I wanted to pull away, to crack a joke about his disastrous date with Sarah from psych class. Anything to steer us back to safe waters. But the words stuck, tangled with the fear that saying them out loud would shatter us, the one constant in my life since we were kids trading comic books under the bleachers. Remember that summer before senior year? I finally whispered, my voice barely audible over the storm. When we drove to Lake Erie, just the 2 of us, blasting that shitty playlist and pretending we owned the world. Alex nodded, his eyes locking onto mine, dark and searching. Yeah. Best week ever. Why? Because that's when I knew. I said, the confession tumbling out like a dam breaking. Not the full scope. Not yet. But something shifted. You looked at me across that bonfire, grinning like an idiot with marshmallow on your chin. And I felt this pull. Like gravity, but scarier. And I've been running from it ever since. The room spun. Or maybe it was just my head. The vulnerability stripping me bare under his gaze. Alex didn't flinch, didn't pull back. Instead, his hand stilled, squeezing gently as if to say he was still here, still listening. Jew, he breathed, and there was a tremor in it, a mirror to my own chaos. I've been waiting for you to say that. God, I've been waiting. The admission hung between us, electric and fragile, as the storm outside began to wane, leaving only the drip-drip of residual rain. We didn't move, didn't dare breathe too loud, as if one wrong shift would dissolve the moment. Alex's face softened, lines of exhaustion from his double shift at the campus cafe etching deeper. But his eyes, those warm brown pools that had pulled me through every low, held a new light. Tentative hope flickering like embers refusing to die. I searched them for judgment, for the rejection I'd scripted in my nightmares 1,000 times, the door slamming, the friendship evaporating into awkward silences and avoided glances. But there was none. Just Alex. My Alex. The guy who'd shared my bunk bed during sleepovers when our families fell apart. Who'd punched a bully for calling me fag in 10th grade without a second thought. What now? I managed, my throat raw, the question a lifeline tossed into the unknown. He leaned in, forehead resting against mine. A gesture so familiar from our roughhousing days, yet charged now with unspoken possibility. Now, we figure it out. Together. Like always. His breath was warm against my skin, steadying the whirlwind in my chest. And for the first time in months, years, maybe I felt the knot of isolation loosen. Just a fraction. But dawn crept in too soon. Gray light filtering through the blinds, reminding me that the world outside this room didn't bend to our timelines. Classes loomed. Friends would notice the shift. And our families back in Ohio, mine with Dad's quiet disapproval of anything different. His with Mom's church group whispers waited like landmines. As Alex finally pulled back, flashing that crooked smile that had saved me more times than I could count, I wondered if we'd just stepped off a cliff, free falling into a love that could either catch us or break us wide open. The days that followed blurred into a haze of stolen glances and tentative to chase a brush of fingers over coffee mugs in the cafeteria. A lingering hug goodbye after lectures that left me dizzy. Alex and I navigated it like tightrope walkers, whispering plans in the back of the library stacks. Our voices hushed conspiracies against the normalcy around us. College was supposed to be freedom. A bubble where kids from all over Michigan and beyond reinvented themselves. But for us, it felt like a pressure cooker. We'd spot couples straight, gay, everything in between, holding hands on the quad. And envy would twist in my gut, sharp and unbidden. One day, Alex murmured one afternoon as we sprawled on the grass near the Huron River. Textbooks forgotten. That's us. Out there. No hiding. I wanted to believe him, to cling to the vision he painted of road trips and shared apartments post-graduation. But doubt gnawed at the edges, fed by memories of small-town stairs and the Bible verses Dad quoted at dinner. It started small, the cracks in our fragile new normal. A teammate from Alex's intramural basketball squad, Mike, cornered him after practice one evening. Voice low and laced with beer breath. Heard you inhale R. Close. Like. Too close. Watch yourself. Man, people talk. Alex laughed it off later when he recounted it to me, his jaw tight as he paced our room. But I saw the shadow in his eyes, the way his shoulders hunched like he was bracing for a hit. It's nothing, he insisted, collapsing onto his bed with a sigh. Just noise. But it wasn't. That night, as I lay awake listening to his even breathing across the room, I replayed every interaction, every laugh we'd shared, wondering if I'd poisoned the best thing in my life by daring to want more. Guilt coiled in my stomach, thick and suffocating. How could I drag him into this? Alex, with his easy charm and scholarship dreams, deserved the world unburdened by my mess. Yet, in the quiet hours, when the campus settled into that post-midnight hush, we'd talk for the first time about the parts of ourselves we'd buried deep. Alex confessed first, his voice a rumble in the dark. I think I've known since that lake trip too. But Mom, she raised me on love the sinner, hate the sin sermons. Thought if I ignored it, it'd go away. His words cracked something in me open. A flood of relief that we were both adrift in the same storm. I shared my own the crushes on boys in gym class I dismissed as phases. The way Dad's voice turned cold when gay rights came on the news. I don't want to lose you, I admitted, the fear raw and exposed. You're my everything. He reached across the divide then, our hands clasping in the shadows. A silent vow that we'd weather it, no matter the cost. Weeks turned to months. Autumn leaves giving way to the brittle chill of winter. And our bond deepened in ways I hadn't imagined possible. Study sessions evolved into something sacred. Notes interspersed with doodles of intertwined initials on margins. Our knees knocking under the table like Morse code for, I'm here. We stole moments a quick kiss behind the lecture hall after a brutal exam. Tasting of vending machine chocolate and adrenaline. Walks along the frozen riverbanks where our breath mingled in white clouds. Hands buried in coat pockets, but fingers laced secretly. It was exhilarating. This secret language we built. But the thrill carried undercurrents of exhaustion. The constant calculus of who might see. What they might say. Friends noticed the shift, our inside joke sharper. Our absences from group hangs more frequent, and whispers followed. Subtle at first, then pointed. You two inseparable lately. Sarah teased one night at a dorm party, her eyes narrowing over her red Solo cup. Alex deflected with his trademark grin, but I felt the heat rise in my cheeks. The lie tasting bitter on my tongue. The real fracture came during winter break, when we parted ways for the holidays to Ohio's flat farmlands. Him to Detroit's gritty edges. Home was a minefield. A step back into the boy I'd been. All forced smiles and Dad's fishing trips where talk of real men hung heavy in the air. I caught him eyeing me oddly one evening as we gutted trout by the garage light. His calloused hands pausing mid-slice. You seem off, son. Got a girl back at school? The question landed like a gut punch. Casual but probing. And I mumbled something about focusing on grades. My heart hammering as I pictured Alex's face. Miles away. That night. Alone in my childhood room with its faded Eagles posters. I texted him, miss you. This place feels like a cage. His reply came swift. Hang in there. Call me at midnight. We talked for hours. Voices low to evade parental ears. Sharing the ache of separation. The way family expectations chafed like ill-fitting sweaters. Returning to campus in January felt like resurfacing for air. The snow-blanketed quad a welcome sight as Alex waited at the bus stop. Thermos of hot chocolate in hand. We hugged longer than friends should. His chin resting on my shoulder. And in that embrace, I felt the pieces of myself slotting back into place. But the respite was short-lived. Rumors had festered in our absence. Mike's words amplified by idle boredom. It culminated in a confrontation outside the student union. Mike and two buddies blocking our path. Their laughter edged with malice. Fairy Brigade. Mike sneered, shoving Alex's shoulder. Time slowed me, blood roared. Vision tunneling as Alex stepped forward. Calm but unyielding. Walk away. Mike. This isn't your fight. But Mike lunged, fist swinging wild. And instinct took over. I tackled him. The impact jarring my bones. The scuffle a blur of grunts and flailing limbs until campus security hauled us apart. Bruised and shaking, we stumbled back to the dorm. Adrenaline crashing into silence. Alex patched my split lip with clumsy gentleness. His touch lingering on my jaw. You didn't have to do that. He whispered. eyes fierce with a mix of gratitude and fear. Yeah, I did. I shot back, voice thick. Because you're worth it. We're worth it. In that raw aftermath, with ice packs and half-hearted jokes about our epic brawl, something solidified a resolve to stop hiding, to claim this love not as a secret, but as our truth. Spring semester brought tentative steps, coming out to our closest friends in a tearful pizza night. Their hugs tentative at first, then fierce, joining the campus LGBTQ alliance, where stories echoed our own, weaving us into a tapestry of shared resilience. Yet growth wasn't linear. Doubts resurfaced like weeds in cracked pavement. One evening, as cherry blossoms dusted the paths, Alex confessed his terror of disappointing his mom. Her voice on calls now laced with unspoken questions about his friend Jeremy. What if she can't accept this? He asked, vulnerability cracking his usual steadiness. I held him then, our bodies fitting like puzzle pieces long separated, murmuring promises I prayed I could keep. My own battles mirrored his dad's emails turned curt, probing about priorities. And I wrestled with the urge to call, to bridge the gap before it widened irreparably. But in each other, we found anchors, late-night drives to empty diners, where we'd map futures over greasy fries. Grad school for me in journalism, coaching for him, dreams intertwined like our fingers under the table. Summer arrived humid and unrelenting, pulling us into jobs that tested our mettle, me waitering at a lakeside spot, Alex lifeguarding with sun-kissed skin and easy laughs for the kids. We rented a cheap sublet off campus. Our first taste of us without walls closing in. Cooking disastrous meals and dancing to vinyl records and socks on linoleum. It was idyllic. A bubble of normalcy. But reality intruded via a letter from home, dad's handwriting stark on the envelope. Words inside a halting attempt at understanding after a tearful phone call where I'd finally said the words, I'm gay. Dad. And happy. His response. I love you. Son. Always will. Just. Be safe. Tears blurred the ink as I read it aloud to Alex, his arms wrapping around me from behind. A quiet sob escaping us both. We're doing this, he said. Fierce. One step at a time. As fall semester loomed, we faced a crossroads, stay in the sublet or return to the dorm. Visibility a double-edged sword. We chose the latter. Bunk beds be damned. A defiant reclaiming of the space where it all began. The year unfolded in layers, protests on the quad for trans rights that stirred our activism. Quiet anniversaries marked with mixtapes and stargazing on rooftops. Conflicts arose. Inevitable, a heated argument after Alex skipped a rally for a family obligation. My insecurity flaring into accusations of divided loyalties. My withdrawal during exam stress. Pushing him away until he refused to budge. His patience a mirror to the man I'd fallen for. Each rift mended stronger, teaching us forgiveness. The art of apology wrapped in I see you. By spring of junior year, we'd evolved Jeremy, once the guarded dreamer, now bold in his queerness, penning articles for the campus paper on intersectional love. Alex, the protector, channeling energy into mentoring queer youth at the rec center. Our families softened incrementally, his mom's visit. Awkward hugs turning to shared recipes. My dad's call during Pride Month. Voice gruff, but proud as he watched the parade stream online. The journey wasn't flawless, society's stares lingered. Internalized doubts whispered, but in the dorm room that started it all. As we packed for summer adventures, Alex pulled me close under the same desk lamp's glow. Nothing's the same, he murmured, echoing the night that changed us. And that's the beauty of it. We stepped into the future hand in hand. Not unscathed, but unbreakable. Our love a testament to the courage it takes to rewrite your story. In the heart of America, amid its contradictions and kindnesses. We'd carved a space that was ours raw, real, and radiating the quiet power of two souls choosing each other against the odds. And as the door clicked shut behind us, I knew this was just the beginning. The summer after junior year stretched out like an endless highway, promising escape from the academic grind, but delivering its own brand of introspection. Alex and I loaded up my beat-up Honda Civic, affectionately dubbed the Beast for its tendency to overheat on inclined sand pointed at west, chasing sunsets across the Badlands. A whim born from too many late-night, what-if conversations. Road trip of reinvention, Alex had dubbed it, his grin infectious as he tossed a duffel into the trunk. Our lives reduced to playlists, protein bars, and the kind of freedom that comes from having nowhere to be. I was 21 now. The boy who'd once hidden behind sarcasm evolving into someone who could name his desires without flinching. Though the old Jeremy still lurked, whispering cautions in quiet moments. Our first stop was Chicago, the windy city's skyline a jagged promise against the lake's vast blue. We crashed with a cousin of Alex's, a no-nonsense graphic designer named Lena who'd come out in the 90s and eyed us with knowing amusement over takeout deep dish. "You two got that new love glow," she teased, her laugh warm as she poured cheap wine. "But listen, it's a marathon, not a sprint. The world's gonna test you." Her words lingered as we wandered Millennium Park the next day, Bean reflecting our distorted selves back at Usme with wind-tousled hair and a faded state UT. Alex in basketball shorts and a hoodie, our hands swinging close but not quite touching in public. The anonymity thrilled, but so did the caution. A group of tourists nearby shot sidelong glances, and I felt the familiar coil of vigilance tighten in my gut. Nights in motel rooms off I-90 were where the real unspooling happened. Fluorescent hummed the backdrop to confessions traded like currency. One evening in South Dakota, after hiking Badlands trails that left us dust-streaked and breathless, we sprawled on a sagging queen bed, fan whirring lazily overhead. "Ever think about where we'd be if that night never happened?" Alex asked, his head on my chest, fingers tracing lazy patterns on my arm. The question pierced, pulling me back to the dorm's shadows. The photo that started it all. "Lost. Probably," I replied honestly, my voice muffled against his hair. "Pretending with someone who wasn't you." He tilted up, eyes serious in the dim light. "Me too." Scared the shit out of me, realizing it was real. Still does. Sometimes. Vulnerability like that raw, unpolished bound us tighter. A reminder that love wasn't absence of fear, but choosing to lean in any way. Mount Rushmore loomed next, its stone presidents gazing eternally, a stark contrast to our fluid identities. We climbed the trails at dawn, mist clinging to pines, and talked about legacy, what we'd leave behind in a world that often erased stories like ours. "I want to coach kids who feel invisible," Alex said, pausing to catch his breath on a switchback. "Show 'em it's okay to be all of you." His passion ignited mine. I envisioned stories that amplified voices long silenced. Journalism as activism. But the monument's grandeur stirred uneased two icons of a nation built on exclusion, mirroring the hypocrisies we'd navigated. "They carved these guys in stone," I muttered, but forgot the queer pioneers, the fighters who made space for us. Alex squeezed my hand, brief but fierce. "That's why we're here. To keep carving." The trip's pivot came in Yellowstone, geysers erupting like emotions long suppressed. We camped under star-drenched skies, tent zipper our only barrier from the wild, and around a crackling fire. Alex's past surfaced, fully a high school hookup gone wrong. Shame that lingered like smoke. "Thought it made me broken," he admitted, poking at embers with a stick. I listened, heart aching for the boy he'd been. Sharing my own shard, the rejection from a childhood friend after an accidental brush of lips during a sleepover game. We heal each other. I said, pulling him close against the night's chill. That intimacy, forged in wilderness, marked a Milestanino more fragments, just whole selves reflected in each other's eyes. Returning east, tanned and tattooed with temporary ink from a Boise dive bar, matching compass roses on our wrists. True north etched beneath. We felt transformed, the road's rhythm sinking our steps. Back in Ann Arbor for senior year. The campus buzzed with change, new administration pushing inclusivity. But old undercurrents persisted. Mike had graduated, but his echo lingered in frat chants and app swipes that ghosted queer profiles. We dove into routines, me interning at the local NPR affiliate, Alex volunteering at a youth shelter. Evenings were ours cooking stir-fries that actually tasted good, debating podcasts on civil rights, bodies entwining in the narrow bed with a tenderness that spoke of home. Challenges mounted subtly. Dad visited in October, his pickup rumbling into the lot, eyes widening at our shared space, the photos on the wall. Alex's jersey draped over my chair. Dinner at a campus bistro was stilted. Small talk about football masking the elephant. Proud of you boys, he said finally. Over coffee, his voice gravelly with effort. Whatever path. It wasn't full acceptance, but a bridge. And as he drove off, Alex's hand in mine felt like victory. My turn came at Thanksgiving. Detroit's family table, a whirlwind of soul food and scrutiny. Alex's mom, Evelyn, pulled me aside post-meal, her apron dusted with flour. He lights up around you, Jeremy. That's God's work, if you ask me. Tears pricked. In her embrace, I found absolution for fears I'd carried. Winter brought illness, a flu that sidelined Alex. My nursing him through fevered nights, a role reversal that humbled us. Don't leave, he mumbled deliriously, clutching my hand. And I stayed, reading aloud from our favorite Vonnegut, whispering affirmations until his eyes cleared. Recovery deepened our empathy, understanding that love meant showing up in the mundane messes. Spring senior projects loomed, my thesis on queer narratives in Midwest media, Alex's capstone on sports equity, late nights in the computer lab, fueled by vending machine runs, tested patience arguments over citations flaring into "you're not listening." But resolutions came sweeter, apologies laced with laughter. Graduation dawned crisp and triumphant, caps tossed under a cerulean sky, families mingling on the lawn. Dad shook Alex's hand firmly, Evelyn snapping photos with teary pride. Diplomas in hand. We faced the unknown, job offers in Chicago for me, a coaching gig in Ann Arbor for him, long distance, a looming specter. We'll make it work, Alex vowed over post-ceremony beers, his optimism a balm. But as we danced at the all-night party, bodies swaying to indie anthems, doubt flickered. What if distance deluded us? The summer job hunt solidified plans. I'd commute weekends. We'd save for a place equidistant. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. A deliberate choice amid chaos. Post-college life unfolded in fits and starts. Chicago's hustle swallowing me whole, newsroom deadlines. Tiny apartment with leaky faucets. Alex's texts anchored me. Miss your laugh. Drive safe Saturday. Weekends became rituals, Amtrak rides, diner breakfasts, collapsing into each other's arms. Distance amplified longing. Small slights magnified, missed call sparking. Do you even care? Insecurity. We learned to communicate fiercely. Video calls dissecting feelings like therapists. Emerging closer. Holidays blended families. Ohio farm for Christmas. Detroit for New Year's. Toasts to resilience ringing out. A year in, opportunity knocked, a reporting job opening in Ann Arbor. I jumped. Our one-bedroom, a cozy nest of mismatched furniture and inside jokes framed on walls. Cohabitation brought domestic bliss laced with friction, chore charts ignored. Thermostat wars. But in crisis, a car wreck that totaled the beast. Alex's knee injury sidelining his season. We rallied. Support woven into DNA. Community enveloped us, joining a queer book club. Marching in pride with signs reading, "Love wins." One story at a time. Years layered on. Turning 25 in a backyard barbecue with friends who'd become family. Alex proposed under those same cherry blossoms. Ring simple silver. Knees on dew-kissed grass. "You're my true north," he said, echoing our ink. Tears flowed as I said yes. The yes that had always been there. Now formalized. Wedding planning mixed joy with tension-blended traditions. Guest list debates but vows exchanged in a lakeside ceremony sealed it, in storms and sunsets. I choose you. Life post-vows deepened purpose. I published a book on queer heartland stories. Alex founded a nonprofit for LGBTQ youth sports. Challenges persisted legislative threats. Personal losses like Evelyn's quiet passing, but they forged us. Grief shared in midnight embraces. At 30, reflecting on that dorm night, I see not just the hook that reeled us in, but the line that sustained us, a love that grew through seasons. Proving that from off-guard moments bloom the most enduring blooms. Looking back, the road to 30 felt like a tapestry woven from threads of joy and jagged edges, each pull tightening the pattern into something resilient. Our first anniversary found us back at Lake Erie. The bonfire crackling as it had in high school. But now with S-Morays upgraded to craft S-Morays kits and a tent pitched for stargazing. Alex traced the constellations with a laser pointer. His voice a soothing baritone recounting myths. While I leaned against him. The lake's lap a lullaby. Remember when this was just us against the world? I mused. Marshmallows gooey between us. He chuckled, pulling me closer. It still is. Only now. The world's a little bigger and kinder. Because of you. Work became a double helix. Our passions intertwining. My book tour took me to dusty libraries in Iowa towns, where readers farm kids with wide eyes whispered thanks for seeing their hidden selves. Alex's program expanded. Summer camps for queer teens blending drills with dialogue circles. His energy infectious. We'd debrief over wine on the porch. Swapping triumphs. A kid coming out to his parents mid-camp. A feature I landed on national radio. But success bred envy, too late nights for me clashing with his early mornings. Resentment simmering like overboiled pasta. "You're always gone," he'd accuse one evening. Voice edged with exhaustion. "And you're always waiting," I'd retort. Defensiveness my shield. The fight escalated. Doors slamming. Silence stretching cold. It took a weekend unplugging in the Ups forests. No signals. Just us and loons calling. To thaw, apologies by firelight. Reaffirming that friction honed. Didn't fracture. Family evolutions added depth. Dad remarried a woman from his VFW group. Her warmth thawing his edges. Holidays now included her stories of 70s disco and acceptance rallies. Alex and I visited often, helping with the garden. His jokes easing Dad's gruff silences into belly laughs. Evelyn's absence lingered. Honored in a scholarship fund Alex established. Her Bible, now on our shelf beside Audrey, Lord a bridge between worlds. When we adopted our first dog, a scruffy mutt named Scout, Dad drove up with a collar engraved "Hail Pack." His way of saying he'd rewritten his script. Society's pulse quickened court rulings affirming rights. But backlash in headlines. We volunteered at clinics during heated debates. Holding hands with strangers in waiting rooms. Our presence a quiet defiance. A personal scare hit when Alex's knee acted up again. Scans looming like storm clouds. Waiting room vigils tested me. His hand in mine a talisman as results came clean. Dodged another bullet. He quipped. But the fear lingered, prompting us to pen living wills. Not morbid, but empowering love documented against uncertainties. Milestones mark time, Our 5th anniversary in New Orleans. Jazz funerals for lost friends morphing into second-line parades of life. I turned 30 there. Beads around my neck. Alex serenading with off-key trumpet from a street vendor. Back home, we hosted a party, queer elders sharing wisdom. Young activists debating futures. Toasts flowed to the dorm that dared us, to the roads that led here. But beneath festivities, I grappled with a restlessness, a desire for more. Perhaps legacy beyond ink and courts. Kids. I broached one night. Tentative. Alex's eyes lit. Surrogacy. Foster. Let's explore. Consultations followed. Agencies outlining paths. Emotions a whirlwind of hope and hesitation. The decision to foster crystallized during a support group. Stories of teens aging out piercing our hearts. Our first placement. MIA, a 16-year-old trans girl with wary eyes and a sketchbook of dreams arrived on a rainy autumn eve. Duffel clutched like armor. Early days were navigation, her testing boundaries. Us learning her rhythms. Alex bonded over basketball. Gentle encouragement coaxing her onto the court. I shared writing prompts. Her illustrations blooming vivid. Conflicts arose, Mia lashing out at perfect couple facades, forcing us to unpack our own scars. You don't get it. She snapped during a blow-up over curfew. Everyone leaves. We sat then. Circle of 3. Tears stripping pretenses. Emerging with hugs that mended. Integrating, Mia wove new patterns. School meetings. Therapy sessions. Her art show where we beamed front row. Pride that year. She marched between us. Rainbow flag aloft. Her smile fierce. Legal strings pulled backgrounds. Home studies but love bridged gaps. When permanency loomed. Her quiet, I want to stay, undid us. Adoption day was courthouse simple. Cake afterward with chosen family. Rings exchanged anew in spirit. Parenting reshaped us. Sleepless nights over homework woes. Triumphs in her first published poem. Alex's coaching extended home. Patience infinite. My stories gained urgency. Fueled by her voice. Challenges, navigating trans healthcare battles. School board fights for pronouns. We advocated. Petitions signed. Voices amplified. Through it, Mia taught reciprocity, her acceptance of our quirks mirroring ours of hers. A cycle of grace. At 35, reflecting in journal entries. The arc from dorm vulnerability to this home echoing with laughter. Alex's hand in mine over dinner stunts. Society shifts, weddings legal nationwide. But fights persist. We persist too. Mentoring. Marching. The hook that caught us off guard. It launched a life of depth. Proving love's alchemy turns surprise to sustenance. Fear to fortitude. In quiet evenings. Mia sketching nearby. Alex's head on my shoulder. I know, nothing's the same. And everything's profoundly right. The decade following Mia's adoption unfolded like a novel with unexpected twists. Each chapter building on the last. Our family, a living narrative of adaptation and anchor. By 40, the lines around Alex's eyes crinkled deeper from coaching sidelines and late-night worry. His hair threading silver like comet trails. But his laugh remained the same, booming. Disarming. The sound that had pulled me from isolation's edge. We'd moved to a fixer-upper Victorian on Ann Arbor's outskirts. Its creaky floors and bay windows a canvas for our chaos. Mia's band posters papering walls. Scout's success or a lab mix named Harper sprawling by the hearth. My byline graced national mags now. Features on rural, queer resilience. While Alex's nonprofit spanned 3 states. Camp's a beacon for kids like Mia once was. Midlife nudged introspection. A 40th surprise party blindfolded drive to the lake house Dad gifted us revealed how far we'd journeyed. Friends toasted evolutions, from dorm whispers to this legacy. But solitude later. Waves lapping. Unearthed doubts. Am I enough? I confess to Alex. Stars pricking the sky. For you. For her. He cupped my face. Steady as ever. You're the spark. Jew. Always have been. That reassurance fueled a sabbatical. Me penning a memoir, off guard. A love unearthed. Pages pouring vulnerabilities we'd buried. Sales surprising. Reviews lauding its heart. Alex devoured drafts. His pride tangible. Edits gentle as his touches. Mia's teen years tested metal. High school hormones hit hard crushes unrequited. Identity flux amid peer pressures. We navigated dysphoria flares. Her binder a rite of passage bought with teary support. A coming out at school assembly. Her voice steady reading a poem on self. Left us sobbing in the audience. Dating brought vigilance. First boyfriend. Awkward dinners vetting intentions. Heartbreak followed. Ice cream vigils where we'd share our stumblesme high school silences. Alex's hidden pains. She thrived. Though scholarship to NYU for art. Dorm moved tearful but proud. Empty nest echoed. Harper's Wine's our soundtrack. But we filled it. Traveled to Paris. Sketching cafes. Volunteering at shelters. Echoes of our start. Health scares punctuated. Dad's heart episode. Us flying to Ohio. Hospital beeps a stark reminder of fragility. Reconciliation deepened Ed had read my book. Tears spotting pages. Admitting regrets over early judgments. You taught me. Son. He rasped from his bed. His passing a year later. Quiet in sleep. Left voids we filled with stories at his wake. Fishing tales retold with laughter through grief. Alex held me then. As always. His strength my scaffold. Societal tides turned turbulent trollbacks on rights. Protests flaring. We marched in D.C. Signs aloft. Families like ours endure. Mia joined from New York. Her art installations protesting. Viral sketches of intertwined hands defying divides. Backlash stung. Hate mail to my editor. Threats to Alex's program. We fortified security cams. Therapy circles, but it forged resolve. Op-eds co-authored. Voices united. At 45. Renewal bloomed. Fostering Agana brother-sister duo. Jamal and Sophia. 8 and 10. From foster churn. Their arrival chaotic, suitcases unpacked. Nightmares soothed. Alex's games became family affairs. Jamal's dribbles echoing his ease. Sophia's stories sparked my co-writing sessions. Bureaucracy dragged. But court finalization a jubilee. Backyard vows of forever. For under one roof amplified joys Thanksgiving's boisterous. Holidays multicultural. Challenges, sibling squabbles. School IEPs. But growth abounded. Their hugs healing old wounds. Career pivots sustained. I launched a podcast. Unearthed Voices. Queer Elders' Tales. Alex consulted nationally. Equity trainings rippling change. Mia's gallery show in Brooklyn. Us front row. Her pieces dorm sketches abstracted mirroring our origin. Grandkids. Not yet. But visits brimmed with auntie/uncle spoiling. Reflections at 50. Anniversary hike retracing Yellowstone trails. Knees protesting but spirits high. From off guard to this. Alex panted. Summit view sprawling. Worth every step. Love, I realized, was evolution, not static flame, but enduring ember. Warmed by trials. Our story. Shared in talks and toasts. Inspired, couples citing the dorm hook. Youth finding mirrors in Mia's art. Nothing the same. Yes, but richer. A testament to choosing depth over ease. Vulnerability over veil. In twilight rambles. Family orbiting. I embrace the arc, surprise birth saga. Forever unfolding. The 50s brought a gentler rhythm. Time's current slowing to savor eddies of contentment amid inevitable undercurrents. Our Victorian. now with a wraparound porch swing creaking under accumulated tails, stood as sentinel to seasons, kids' college sends-offs. Jamal to Michigan State for engineering. Sophia to Oberlin for music. Empty rooms refilled with visits and Harper's grand pups scampering. Alex and I, silver-foxed and bespectacled, traded basketball for birdwatching. My pen for keyboard memoirs updated annually. Wrinkles mapped laughs and losses. But our hands, calloused from holding on, fit as first clasp. Health's whisper grew insistent. Alex's knee, once defiant, demanded replacement surgery, a blur of rehab walks. My arm is Cain. Like old times. You carrying me. He joked through pain. But fear shadowed. What if mobility stole our adventures? Recovery rallied him. Physical therapy, a duet of encouragement. Emerging stronger. Hikes resumed with trekking poles. My own brush for diabetes scare. Diet overhauls prompted tandem wellness, farmers markets. Yoga under oaks. Bodies attuned to new. Grandparenting enchanted. Mia's twins. Born via IVF with her wife Lena, fate's full circle. Our Chicago cousin. Arrived squalling delights Elias and Nova. Chubby-fisted explorers. Week in custody. Us in aprons for purees. Alex's lullabies baritone magic. Papa Ja. Papa Alex. Their gurgles dubbed us. Hearts swelling. Jamal's engagement to a software whiz. Sophia's album drop milestones we cheered. Toasts to lineages extended. Community anchored. Our synagogue. Progressive haven. Hosted queer history nights. Alex keynote at national conferences. Voice gravelly with wisdom. Backlash lingered state bills curbing trans care. Us testifying in Lansing. Words measured but fierce. These are our daughters. Our futures. I urged. Alex's nod stealing resolve. Victories small, local ordinance passed. Celebrations with allies old and new. Travel tempered pace. Iceland's auroras. Us bundled under northern lights. Whispers of dorm storms paling against cosmic dance. Morocco's souks. Haggling rugs for the living room. Spices scenting memories. Each John a chapter close. Reflections on arcs, from Michigan boys to global hearts. Personal evolutions deepened. Therapy, once crisis tool, became maintenance, unpacking aging's mirror. Fears of fading relevance. We're still becoming. Alex affirmed. His insight perennial. I mentored young journalists. Their fire echoing mine. He shadowed coaches. Equity, legacy, enduring. Losses tempered joys. Sophia's miscarriage. Us flying to hold her. Grief's weight shared in silence. Healing came slow. Her music reborn fiercer. Dad's old fishing buddy passing. Stories swapped at memorial. Tying threads to origins. 60th loomed golden. Party at the lake house. Family orbiting grandkids, chasing fireflies. Mia's toast. You showed us love's a verb. Vows renewed lakeside. Sunset officiant. Rings polished symbols. Post-fest. Porch swing confessions, scared of what's next. Only if without you. Legacy crystallized. My final book. Enduring Off Guard. Anthology of our network's stories. Alex's documentary on youth programs. Premiered tearfully. Kids carried torches. Jamal's tech for underserved. Sophia's queer anthems. Mia's exhibits. At 65. Autumn rambles hand in hand. Leaves crunching anthems to change. The dorm's echo. A seed-sprouted oak. Branches sheltering multitudes. Nothing same gratefully sow a life of profound. Human bloom. 65 ushered in a phase of harvest, where sown seeds of youth yielded fruits both sweet and bittersweet. Our lives a garden tended with weathered hands and unyielding hope. The Victorian. Its paint chipped but soul intact. Buzzed with returnees. Jamal's post-grad startup hub in the basement. Sophia's recording nook in the attic. Grandkids' sleepovers filling silences with chaos. Alex and I, grandparents proper now, navigated aches with humor as hips twinge met my quip. Dancing's optional. Holding on's not. Morning started slow, coffee on the porch. Birdsong symphony. Planning days around passions undimmed. Health's ledger balanced precariously. My cataract surgery. World sharpening post-op. Mirrored clarity gained over decades. Alex's annual checkups. Prostate vigilant. Passed with sighs of relief. We joined a senior queer hiking group. Trails gentle but bonds fierce stories swapped of Stonewall echoes. Spouses lost and found. You too are legends. A widower noted. And we blushed. Hands linked. Legacy lightened. Grandparenting flowered fully. Elias and Nova, now rambunctious 6-year-olds, demanded Papa stories, embellished dorm tales. Minus storms, emphasizing friendship's magic. Mia's family grew with a third. Little Kai. Us in rotation for auntie/uncle duties. Diapers and debates on Montessori. Holidays grand, Seders blending Jewish roots with soul food sides. Laughter layering traditions. Travel tempered. Closer orbits, Mackinac Island bikes. No cars. Freedoms reclaimed. Galapagos echoes. Turtles ancient as our love. Slow wisdoms absorbed. Each vista prompted gratitude journals. Entries chronicling today's gift, Alex's surprise pancakes. A cardinal at feeder. Activism evolved inward out. We hosted Elders Circle potlucks. Queer seniors sharing survival scrolls, AIDS-era ghosts. Joy reclaimed. Legislative watches continued. Letters to reps. But focus shifted, mentoring Mia's nonprofit. Art therapy for trans youth. Sophia's album. Featuring our spoken word interlude. Charted indie waves. Her pride our anthem. Personal reckonings surfaced. A depression dip for me. Winter's gray amplifying isolation echoes. Therapy reigniting spark meds minimal. Walks with Alex medicinal. His own bout. Retirement whispers stirring purpose voids. Quelled by adjunct teaching. Classroom his cord anew. Losses carved deeper. Jamal's diagnosis early rheumatoid. Flair's hobbling dreamsys rallying with research dives. Adaptive gear hunts. His resilience inspired. Wedding vows adapted with canes as props. An old friend's passing. AIDS complication. Memorial stirring fury and fondness. Donations in his name. 70th dawn vibrant. Cruise down the Danube. Waltzes attempted. History's layers paralleling ours bridges crossed. Walls felt. Homecoming bash. Family toasts, to hooks that last. Reflections and letters to kids, love's not a rival. But journey embraced. Legacy rippled. My podcast archived. University endowed chair in my name. Alex's program national model. Scholarships bearing his. Grandkids school projects on family heroes. Drawings of us hand in hand. At 75. Winter hearth vigils. Afghans draped. Recounting arcs. The off-guard moment. Catalyst for constellation. Stars our kin. Nothing seamlessly a tapestry of tenacity. Tenderness eternal. 75 marked a turning toward twilight's glow. Where days stretched languid. Rich with retrospection. Our Victorian, a time capsule of lives layered like sedimentary rock, each stratum a story etched in laughter lines and faint scars. Alex and I. Octogenarians in spirit, if not always in step. Rose with the sun. Routines, rituals, shared obituaries over bran muffins. Debating legacies over decaf. The house. Adapted with ramps and grab bars. Hummed with visits, grandkids' college breaks. Great-grand Nova's toddler tantrums. A full nest echoing empty ones past. Health's dance grew intricate. Alex's pacemaker install. A tick methodical. Steadied his rhythm. My hearing aids amplified birdsong. Conversations crisp. We joined reminiscence theater. Seniors scripting life plays our scene. The dorm hook dramatized tastefully. Applause cathartic. Encore. Calls from peers. Our narrative a beacon. Great-grandparenting delighted. Kai. Now 4. Dubbed us Gigi and Pops. Finger paints adorning fridge. Elias's bar mitzvah. Us in front. His speech nodding our endless love as model. Sophia's tour stops. Backstage hugs. Her songs are soundtracks. Jamal's adaptive tech, firm thriving. Family game nights with voice-activated chess. Travel whispered. Not roared, trained to D. C. For March on Washington anniversary. Wheelchairs and parades. Signs still here. Still queer. Niagara Falls revisit. Misting memories of youthful splashes. Activism. Legacies echo. Guest lectures virtual. Faces young aglow. We co-authored op-ed on elder queer isolation. Responses flooding connections forged. Circles widened. Mia's center expansion. Us ribbon cutters. Her embrace fierce. Intimacy sustained. Date nights in, board games. Back rubs. Whispers of still you. Affirmed. Therapy check-ins. Aging's griefs aired mobility mourned. But joys journaled, sunsets savored. Hands held. Losses. Inevitable, Sophia's cancer scare. Remission's relief a prayer answered. And cohorts fade. Dementia's thief. Us visiting with photo albums. Sparks of recognition treasures. 80th golden hour. Virtual global toast. Screens alight with kin. Lake house gathering. Vows refreshed. Ripples our witness. Journals closed circles. From guard down to guards up together. 90 beckoned. Paces paired. The surprise. Spark for symphony. Notes are now. Unchanged. The choice daily. Devoted. A life. Profoundly altered. Profoundly whole. 90 arrived not with fanfare, but a quiet unfolding. Like pages turning in a well-loved volume. Each chapter's close yielding to the next with grace earned through gales weathered. Our Victorian. A bastion buffed by time's polish. Stood sentinel as seasons cycled softer. Its rooms repositories of resonance. Great-grand portraits on mantels. Afghans knit by hands now stilled. Alex and I. Nonagenarians entwined in armchairs by the bay window. Mornings merged in murmurs weather watched. Wonders whispered. Our dialogue a dialect decades deep. Frailty's fingers lengthened shadows. Yet light lingered. Alex's vision dimmed. Macular specter. Audiobooks our bridge to tales untold. My balance wobbled. Kana companion crooned, old friend. Hospice volunteer shifts. Us bedside listeners. Stories solicited softened soul's reciprocity's return. You've lived it. A patient breathed. Arnaud's narratives unspoken. Great-grand thrived. Orbits orbiting us. Nova's elementary play. Us Zoom cheering her tree roll. Kai's piano recital. Fingers fumbling but fierce. Elias's engineering internship. Nods to Jamal's grit. Family councils virtual. Decisions democratic holidays hybrid. Traditions tweaked. Journeys. Armchair now, VR vistas of Yosemite. Shared headsets syncing awe. Local loops. Park benches for people watching. Judgments suspended in favor of what's their story. Stewardship sustained. Archives donated letters. Tepesto University LGBTQ collection. Researchers wrapped. Mentorship morphed to letters penned. Wisdom wing to youth querying. How'd you know? Tenderness. Tactile treasure. Naps necklaced. Breath synced. Memories massaged dorm details relived. Chuckles cascading. Caregiving circles. Kids rotating. Us insisting we're still us. Griefs. Gentle now, Jamal's arthritis advance. Adaptive aids accepted with aplomb. A grey tant's quiet exit. Garden planted in memoriam. Centennial neared. Kin convened. Virtual vigil. Toasts tear-tinged. Pioneers of heart. Lake whispers. Recorded for posterity. Vows voiced velvet. At 95. Hearth hushed harmonies. The off-guard. Genesis of grace. Unfolding, unending. Same. The spark eternal. Ours. A denouement dignified. Depth's dividend.